in Chicago that race movies got their start. At the turn of the century, Chicago was a cultural center for Southern blacks. Determined to put the shadows of slavery behind them, they poured into this northern city by the thousands.
In that period of migration, there's a sense of dislocation, of having to find the group again, of trying to settle into home again. And so you need affirmation. You need race movies, you need race films, you need race records, you need race people, race organizations. So one of the things that the race films answered was that echo. I want to hear myself, I want to see myself.
As blacks prospered, a sophisticated, urbane middle class began to emerge. This was a population that loved to have their pictures taken.
They were seeking something. They were seeking to, literally, to construct themselves, and they wanted to see images or reflections of that striving in the images that were portrayed in various forms of mass media.
Black Americans were constantly assaulted by demeaning images in popular white culture, in cartoons, in the press, and now in motion pictures.
At that time, when we were seen on the screen, we were either comedians. Whatever we did was supposed to provoke laughter. It was certainly not intended to invite any kind of serious thought.
What was so offensive was the overall image that these movies portrayed of African Americans as having never moved off the plantation, of being illiterate, of not having made any advances at all. And not only not having made advances, but they were dehumanizing.
To counteract these stereotypes, blacks began to make their own movies, race movies, which presented black life with honesty, dignity, and some affection. Movies, said one early director, were the best way for a black man to make some money and set the race right with the world.
When the industry first started, the cameras were new and the technique was new. They just shot anything they saw because the first films had to do with realities. In other words, they'd go down a railroad station and they'd shoot everything they saw, and people wanted to see it because it was moving.
In Chicago, a photographer named Peter Jones made short films about life in the black community.
These movies became very important for black audiences in different parts of the country to see. They'd heard about Tuskegee, they'd heard about Hampton Institute, black colleges, but actually seeing these institutions live gave audiences a great deal of pride and a sense of being connected.
Race movies soon became popular entertainment, drawing on the financial resources and creative talent of vaudeville, a showcase for black performers. The Black Vaudeville District in Chicago was known as the Stroll. Here in 1910, William Foster, a vaudeville press agent, became the first black to set up his own film company. Chicago was also the home of Ebony Films, a race movie studio which produced slapstick comedies starring black vaudevillians. These films were enjoyed by both black and white audiences.